so. We are, as faithful followers of Christ Jesus, we are each and every one trying to be sexually responsible. As a result of our rebellion against God, we are each tempted to pursue our own ways, often doing what seems most natural to us. Homosexuality, the practice thereof, not being God's design for human sexuality, leads to sin, pain, and broken relationships, just like other sexual sins do as well. It is important to note that God loves people who struggle with same-sex attraction, just like He loves all other sinners. God Himself offers His grace and forgiveness in Christ to any person, regardless of his or her particular sins, including the brokenness of same-sex attraction. Healing and change are possible for men and women who struggle with homosexual temptations. This biblical truth, this biblical fact, is clearly offered and defined in 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 9 through 11. And this morning
comes into the local congregations looking just like Christ. We read in 2 Corinthians chapter 11, beginning in verse 13. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 11.
除了这些外，天津医科大学总医院肺部肿瘤外科主任医师陈刚才介绍。
وإنكرنا هذا وش صار ده موجين لكن مسؤولية ده حسكال هذا دورش ده معمولي قد سر إلى ده سوملا ندورش
زیات شمیر د لیرو پروتو سیمو خلک اخلي چې په دې برخه کې زیات عامه پوهاوی نه لري او ډاکټرانو او روغتون ته د اقتصادي ستونزو له امله د تګ توان هم نه لري لړلې مچولا او زبیولا وایي یا مې د یو په مشر دغه په دوای پر دې باندې د خلکو د سودا ورکی خلک دې
The Voice of Turkey.
A world of news in 41 languages on trtvotword.com.
Weekly analysis.
As the elections in Libya, which were planned to be held in December, approaches, tensions within the country began to increase. A new process has emerged due to many uncertainties, such as whether the elections will be held, what kind of election process will operate, the determination of electoral districts, and the determination of candidates. The parties in Libya want elections due to external pressure and legitimacy concerns, but it is not known under what conditions and how the elections will be held. We present the assessment of Murat Yeşiltaş, Data Security Studies Director, on the subject. During the election process, it can be expected that Haftar and his supporters states will come to the fore. It is an interesting development that Haftar aspires to the Libyan presidency despite his American citizenship, because the Libyan election law prevents dual citizens from being candidates in the elections. For this reason, the Tobruk-based assembly, under the influence of Haftar, set aside the formal
continent. It opened.
肺部健康的所谓憋气自测法，说是憋。
parents that can support each other.
The division
to endure the humiliation of being put back into the background. The royal palace looked exactly like
吓了一跳，或者有些困惑。
from the granite steps to meet the honored guest in the courtyard. If the ambassador had an imperial edict to deliver,
陈刚表示，废的
he's in
बिदर एक शहर बास्तानी हिंद जनूबी अफसाने है कि बिदर शक्ल पूछे कि बिदुर नगर एक शहर बास्तानी बना
รถยนต์ส่วนตัวนะคะซึ่งก็มีรถเช่าไว้คอยให้บริการหลากหลายด้าน
하고 있는 정말 세상에 둘도 없는 폭군입니다. 북조 선임민들도 다 같이 잘 살 문화를 그려가면서
অবিশ্বাস্য মনে হয় বহু ভারতীয় এই কথিত হেনস্থার হাত থেকে বাঁচতে সীমান্ত অঞ্চল ছেড়ে
लेकिन यूरोपा अंदर इस बात की पॉलिसी इतनी कि सरकार मसूल आजाद के योई让我们一起祈祷
作用的。这几个花还有几大特点，比方我们的雪莲花。
见证耶稣的福音之起，在克西马尼园的时候，耶稣没有。
看了你就会为以前的你而悔改。以前我的眼光怎么这么糟糕，这么拙劣，这么歪曲啊！戴了一个歪斜的眼镜去看它，去解读它。 所以以为是人家智商不高，其实他是私利，而且
그들의 계획을 무산시키리니 그러면 그들은 우상들과 초혼자들과 무당
唯一တက်တဲ့စစ်ကောင်စီတက်တဲ့အကြားမှာဒီမနေ့ဆွဆွကစပြီးတော့တိုက်ပွဲဖြစ်ပွားနေတယ်လို့ဒေသခံတွေကပြောပါတယ်။စောမြို့နယ်ကျင်းနေနဲ့တောမကျေးရွာနှစ်ခုကြားမှာတိုက်ပွဲဖြစ်ပွားခဲ့ပြီးစစ်ကောင်စီဘက်ကရဟရင်နှစ်စီးနဲ့စစ်ကူပစ်ခတ်မှုတွေရှိပြီးတိုက်ပွဲပြစ်ထန်တယ်လို့ဒေသခံတွေကဆိုပါတယ်။စောဒေသကာကွယ်ရေးတပ်ဘက်ကတော့မလိုအပ်ဘဲအပြစ်ထွက်သွားလာတာတွေမလုပ်ဖို့စောဟောထားပါတယ်။စစ်ကောင်စီဘက်ကဒီသတင်းနဲ့ပတ်သက်ပြီးတော့အဒီပြရခြင်းကိုတင်ကြုံနေရှိတယ်။တားလို့ရ
În muzica și versurile aurite, declară Paul la 写的点是都是给包за шинугик афишного танша тим мелет их лин тостай сирлен 第二天达到
What is a foolish question? Well, a foolish question is when you are so foolish that you ask somebody for an answer to something when you have already made up your mind to what the answer is. Why would you want to ask anybody a question if you already are persuaded to what the answer is? You already have the answer. So why ask anybody else? Well, the reason why you ask is because you want to trap or you want to strengthen some opinion that you have that maybe the man is not the man of God. And so you can trap them. Like they did with Jesus. They tried to trap him in his words. They tried to trap John the Baptist in his words. Well, that's how we...
West Bengal, who is using one of the simple lamp kits in her home.
For last 1 year, I am using solar lights. It's very useful than the kerosene lamp. Now I can work at night. My children can do their lessons at night. And you know we are living in the storm-prone area. If there is storm, then kerosene lamps work. In that way...
C'est-à-dire...
But I think, I haven't, to be honest, Joe. And I think it's important to talk about, you know, the friends and the family members that are on this journey with somebody who's suffering with this addiction. Because,
where did the money come from, by the way?
Well, I've a very good job, and you know, and I've managed to hold it down. How I don't know, Joe, but I have, and I suppose that's one positive to look at through all of this. But you know, the one gambler, problematic gambler, is the impact it has on people's lives around them is massive, and it's not easy for them to go through and look at somebody that they love who's going through this addiction, and they're heroes in it as much as the person who's going through it.
How did your family help you?
Well, Joe, I've been in 3 different treatment centres over different periods of time. And the first time, I suppose, I was...
飞行员的心脏病发。
was undergoing a change. You weren't sure?
Yeah, I was not sure about that.
Did that make you stop each time?
Yeah, every time I took my revolver.
There you go. That's the only example you'll see of a Muslim and a Catholic in a Catholic church getting married, I think. Yeah. Photograph again. Why, I came on to say, brimful of action about one hit wonder story. What you're thinking? Nice one, Joe. Start something if it is,
On the road.
But that's it. They don't
The batteries of the electric motors. They found that it is because of the blitz-prone electronics, including climate control and power equipment. Electric SUVs were the least reliable category in the annual survey of the subscribers. Compact and plug-in gas electric hybrids were in the most reliable category.
Truck driver from Mexico arrested by border officials after driving nearly half ton of meth into San Diego County. Search was ordered.
الدور الأحمر من نهار الخميس جانا ترى حتى نهار الجمعة 9 متاع الليل 24 ترجع ومن بعد اخر الجيش اسلوب اخر نهار في الجيش نهار يا ما وصلت لها
overturned concrete truck. Only the carpool and lift light are open, and it's really there's backup to the crash, and it's also the South 57 to the West 22. If you don't know about it, you're gonna get stuck on that transition road. It's just jammed. Yeah, it's really jammed. Southbound 5 got multiple calls about this crash. Southbound 5 coming out of the East LA interchange. A 2-car crash in the left lanes, backing everything up, heading into the East LA area. But again, it's in South.
Where they look at the pros and cons to the environment, and then
Volkswagen, Porsche, Subaru, Honda, and now Genesis with their 13th dealership, Genesis Santa Monica, opened in June. They have a huge inventory of stock, including the brand new.
That's good. There you go, Doctor. I just got through the course.
50-year-old Nick.
Project in the works. What's next for Paul Rudd?
So much to see and do downtown, including holiday favorites like Christmas in the Park, a free
you need
and animated displays, or skate under the stars and palms at Downtown Ice. Hop on an amusement ride at Winter Wonderland or see a Nutcracker performance. Sign up for Santa Run Silicon Valley or take a stroll and enjoy the holiday lights. Also check out Blinky's Illuminated Holiday, a mile-long musical drive-through light show at Lake Cunningham Park. You can create more magical moments with a San Jose hotel stay with friends and family. San Jose is the place to celebrate this season. To see what's happening for the holidays, check out sanjose.org/holidays for a list of events and attractions. That's sanjose.org/holidays.
Ho, ho, ho. Your life, your hopes, your passions. These things are none of our business. Your baby monitor research, if you're using too much diaper cream, and whatever you were searching for at 1:15 a.m., that's really none of our business. Because your life is private, and unlike other tech companies, we think your internet should be too. Oh, how old are they? That's none of our business either. Protect your privacy online for free with DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
5:58 at KCBS. We've got Kim in your local Honda dealers traffic center. Backing up on the upper deck in the tunnel, but also a problem in Nevada.
It's the first year we're seeing that?
You know, this is the first year we've looked into it. So on every other holiday in the winter months, Angelinos are ordering pizza via Google and Google Maps. And then on Christmas, it shifts over to Chinese food.
Okay, this is the kind of thing that Google has looked into this year, which I think is just super fun. What are some of the popular cultural attractions in LA? Where are we going to be taking our friends and family when they come to visit this year?
Yeah, so we looked into the top search from just this year. So 2021 trends are showing the Griffith Observatory, the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, the Getty, and the Hollywood Bowl are some of the top ones. And these are actually not only the top in LA, but some of them are showing up on the top 10 in the U.S. nationally.
Wow, and that's got to be because people finally can travel again.
Yes, absolutely.
When it comes to our transportation patterns, I see there's been a shift because of COVID.
Yeah, so I don't know if you've noticed traffic changing, but we actually found that driving is about the same compared to last year. But the really interesting thing is walking is up over 20%, and people in Los Angeles are actually taking public transportation around 25% compared to last year.
That's interesting. Is there a certain type of public transportation we're taking more? Are we more on the buses, more on Metro, anything like that? Did you break it down that way?
You know, I'm not sure overall, but we did find that the most crowded transit line is the 204 Metro bus.
204 Metro bus. Okay. How funny is that? And when it comes to, I'm looking at some of like the busiest times or the most popular times that you can go to places, I guess the popular holiday destinations. You guys did break down the times. So in other words, don't take your family at this time of day, go either before this or after this, right?
Yeah, so I'm not sure how familiar you are with Google Maps, but you can see live busyness information or popular times to go to certain stores. So we aggregated this and found that like the most popular or the least busy time to go to the grocery store is Saturday at 9 a.m. So if you're thinking about sleeping in during the busy holiday season, it might be worth it to wake up a little early on Saturdays to get there.
Nothing is worse than the grocery store the day before Christmas Eve. I swear, it's the worst. So, okay, it's Saturday morning, 9 o'clock. I would get up for that. But you have things like the least busy times at the bar, the least busy times at the department store. Give us those, if you would, please.
Yeah, so at a bar, the least busy time is Saturday at 4 p.m. So if you're into watching college football, maybe it's worth going to a bar at that time.
Yeah.
As for department stores or shopping centers, the least busy time is Wednesdays at 8 p.m. So that could be a nice way to switch up your week, go in the middle of the week. And actually, last year we saw a big increase in people searching for post offices, which could be due to the fact that no one was going home for the holidays. But if you're still sending out some gifts to people or maybe your holiday cards, the least busy time to go to the post office is Saturday at 10 a.m.
This is so much fun. Is this on the website on Google, or can people Google it to find this information?
Yeah, so we have national trends on Google's blog, which is blog.google. But you can also, like I said, there's live busyness and popular times information for specific places. So if you want to search for a restaurant near you or going to the airport or something like that, you can check out and see when the busiest and least busy time to go is for that particular destination.
Megan, this is so much fun. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. And a lot of us are going to be going to the bar on Saturdays at 4 and doing our Christmas shopping Wednesdays at 8 now.
I love to hear it. Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, thanks. Hope to do it again soon. See you later.
See ya. Bye.
That is Megan Stoner. She is Communications Manager at Google. There you go. Trying to make your holidays a little bit easier. This is KFI and KOST HD2 Los Angeles. Let's take a look at your drive now. And Jeff Baugh is checking out I think you were going to the 101, Jeff. Good morning.
Yeah, we can start there. But that was pretty good info you got there. Thanks, Jen.
I thought so, too. Good. Yeah. I love any time that I can make life simpler for people.
Yeah, that's a very good thing. No question. All right. Good morning to you. Now, if you're listening at home, by any chance, hope you are before you start driving. It's always a good idea. But it's really seriously foggy all the way down to the ground in spots of LA. So be careful. The 101 is okay. All the Caltrans work has been picked up. Not to worry. But got to get right to a couple of problems, bad problems, too. First, leaving the East LA interchange, South 5 around Indiana. We got lanes blocked there. It's backed up through the East LA interchange, especially South 5 to South 5. And then if you go the other way, South 5 to the West End, the first ramp, Santa Fe, is partially blocked, so be careful. Then to Orange County, a massive problem here. You don't want to get involved. West 22 past the I-5 City Drive, most of the freeway shut down. It's a parking lot. It truly is. Even the South 5 to the West 22, it's all back up. The trick here, get on the West 22 at Hester Harbor. You are past all these problems and on your way. Don't go away. It's going to be a busy morning. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Jeff Baugh.
If you've been injured, you gotta call St. James.
Well, you've heard me talk about my friends at Sunday and how they can sell your home fast without any repairs, without the hassle of dealing with showings, realtors, cleaning, or making upgrades. Now Sunday has made the process even easier for those who want to sell a property fast. Contact Sunday for your free no-obligation cash offer. They're going to visit your property, take photos, and do a 3D walkthrough. They'll package your property details and send it to the thousands of local investors in their database who are actively looking to buy property. The average homeowner receives 12 quarterbacks back in the 60s and 70s, certainly in the 70s. God mentioned Bart Starr and Bob Green.
Biden's trip to the Tokyo Games last summer. In Washington, Jill Nato, Fox News.
As the games begin February 4th.
-4 各位听众，接下来为您介绍中国福利彩票3D 游戏第2021。
目標を掲げて、達成できなかった後何件ってことになると、緩い目標を掲げてしまうとどうしても出てくるということで、熱心な国は一生懸命やると思うんですけれども、その差が固定しちゃうのかなっていう気もします。
师傅，我想换换新能源，还是用长城经济星吧。对，好车用好油，更适应，更经济，更环保。中国石化。
한다고 덧붙였습니다. 저립견 중국 외교부 대변인은 18일 미 관원의 대만 관련 발언을 언급하면서 미국의 이른바 대만 관계법은 하나의 중국 원칙.
刮分抽2,600万个现金红包，让机会1时，2999元神秘大奖。
太好了，2CUBA一号码有能力到哪来？
格力零透明技术，荣获全球智能技术创新大奖。储能，一体化应用，助力实现双碳目标。零透源，格力造。意外的带了补上。电光火石之间，产生奇迹无数。
미국이 외교적 보이콧을 단행하게 되면 중국과에서의 새로운 대립을 초래할 가능성도 있어 대응에 관심이 모이고 있습니다. 미국의 캐서린 파이 무역 대표부 대표가 NHK와의 단독 인터뷰에서 최대 경쟁국으로 규정한 중국에 대한 대항을 염두에 두고 이르면 내년 초에 인도 태평양 지역 등의 동맹국 및 우호국과 새로운 경제적 틀을 시작하겠다고 밝혔습니다. 미국 바이든 정부에서 무역 정책을 담당하는 무역 대표부 수장인 캐서린 파이 대표가 일본 방문에 맞춰 NHK와 단독 인터뷰를 가졌습니다. 파이 대표는 인터뷰에서 우리는 중국의 위협이라는 과제에 직면해 있어 경제적 이익을 지키고 이익을 공유하는 동맹국 및 우호국과 연대해야 한다고 지적했습니다.
wanda ya gabatar da jawabin nasa a hedikwatar kungiyar ECOWAS da ke Abuja a rana ta biyu ta ziyarar tasa ya ce gwamnatin Amurka na mararin son taimakawa kasashen Afirka domin su fahimci irin albarkatun da Allah ya kuwa.
An gaishe da Usman Minjibir. To a bangare ɗaya kuma kungiyar kare haƙƙin bil'adama ta Human Rights Watch ne ta buƙaci hukumomin Najeriya.
Diga doorashada heer federaal ee Axmed Safina Axmed bal marka hore si kooban xaggee bay wax idiin marayaan haddii aad tihiin guddigii doorashada ee heer federaal.
Bismillaahi Rahmaani Rahiim. Guddiga doorashooyinka
بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة
اطفال افغانستان یک روز سیاه می باشد و گفته یونیسف تقریبا 14 میلیون طفل در افغانستان به مواد غذایی کافی دسترسی ندارند و بیش از 1 میلیون آنها به تهدید مرگ روبرو هستند. شنبه 20 ماه نوامبر روز جهانی اطفال است. جزئیات بیشتر در این گزارش.
روز جهانی کودک در حال فرا می رسد که بیشتر از 1 میلیون کودک در افغانستان با خطر قطعی روبرو هستند. یونیسف یا صندوق وحشی سازمان ملل متحد
unlimited, long-distance services, cell phones where you don't have to pay, and then you can hear. And here is the number. Here is the number. 319-237-8001. Also, we ask throughout the day and night for
into your body. It's in the daily shower because it's going directly into your skin, that warm water. Your skin is the biggest absorbing organ on your body and much bigger than your stomach, by the way. And also breathing in that vapor, and that goes directly into your bloodstream and directly into your cells. And the key issue is accumulation. You're accumulating this daily and daily and daily. And over the years and decades, people start getting sick because of the water, because this is constantly building up and your system does not get rid of it.
Okay. So the thing is with the water softeners, since we're alluding to that, when you hook one of these multi-round high-flow filters into your system and you integrate it into the whole house system, this does not produce soft water. It just produces clean water. Do you, and have people said, so I guess I need to put a water softener in if I want soft water. You recommend that? I mean, what's the advantages of having a water softener other than the fact that it puts salt in the water? Is that right?
Right, exactly. There's different systems for water softeners, and some of them claim that they don't add any salt in a salt exchange process. But a water softener removes the minerals. The MR5, we do not target minerals because they're not toxins. We only remove things that are toxic and bad for your health. But the minerals, if you have a mineral issue with your water, then you would want a water softener first, then the MR5, and then the MR5 also comes with an optional ultraviolet final filter, which if any bacteria or viruses get through the filter itself, then they're killed in this 3-foot-long
ultraviolet stainless steel tube. It has an ultraviolet light in the middle, and that's an optional add-on. We find that most people actually get that also with the MR5. And so for under $2,500, you have water filtration in your house, hot and cold water, and the confidence that you can now fill your water bottle at home. I tell people that are runners and that take or buy water, they buy bottled water, that you can pay for your MR5 in probably within a year by putting it in and then not having to buy that bottled water.
Yeah, amazing that a long time ago, who would have thought that we'd be paying that kind of money for people that are bottling water? I mean, that's just, it's nutty just to even think about that. But, you know, like I say, way back when, and I was peddling coffee in a coffee shop, and people were complaining because they were paying $1 for a cup of coffee in Norwalk. The craziness of it all, right?
Right. Oh,
So,
absolutely. Yeah, you're more for water than gasoline. Imagine.
No doubt. Well, so the filter, if we put this filter, the water softener comes first, because basically a lot of people, what they're afraid of is they want to use a water softener because they want to make sure it doesn't wreck all their pipes, because their pipes basically are now PVC, and they want to make sure that the water running through these pipes is clean. And the thing is that now, as far as PVC goes, it's carrying pipes, and in certain instances, I know you're probably familiar with recreational vehicles, they basically, when they connect to a water source, they have to use an actual line that is basically drinking water sensitive. You don't need any kind of stuff like that with these units, do you?
No, you just use it hooks into the regular system in your house. If you have a pre-existing house, they have fittings. The MR5 has 1.5-inch fittings. So these can go into a commercial operation, like say a beer, what would you call it, like an heirloom beer production shop or something commercial. But then you just put adapters on there if you have a 1-inch or 3/4-inch piping in your house where the water comes in. You just put in an adapter and hook it in, and then you're good to go.
Sure. Now, the situation with the filter, the ultraviolet bacteria filter that you were talking about earlier, this basically does 12 gallons a minute, runs at 55 watts, and basically, where does this hook up to? Is it hook up into 2 holes in the front of the filter? I'm looking at on the page right here.
Well, what happens is you have a connector pipe between the MR5 or tubing, whatever you're using, plastic or copper, whatever. And then there's a short run over to the ultraviolet filter. The ultraviolet filter can be horizontal or vertical. But basically, in the plumbing, you have shut-off valves, so you can isolate both the UV filter and the MR5 so that you can bypass them when you're servicing them and installing them, and then you shut off the main valve and then open up the valves for the water to flow through the filter units. And so this is all done. We have instructions on how to install these. We recommend that a plumber, professional, local certified plumber, licensed plumber install these, because there's a lot of local codes a lot of times regarding pressure release valves or what have you, and a professional plumber will know that. It's typically about a 3 to 4 hour job to install and get these up and running.
Sure. Unless you're doing a new install, then it's just all part of the game plan. But now, as far as these, most people who would order a whole house water system usually would be on like well water or like in a bad area like Flint, Michigan, where there's a lot of lead.
Well, what we found out, Dave, is that the water is horrific every place. And here's the thing. If you call up your local municipal water supply, the company or the city, they will tell you the following in a sing-song nursery rhyme form. We comply with all federal standards. Now, what does that mean? Federal standards have not been updated in over 20 years. And so you're dealing with all kinds of chemicals that have now, people are realizing that they are there. But there are websites that are available, and I have a database, it's a government database, where they've tested all of the water in the country, all of the different municipal water systems. And what you'll find is you typically have 10 to 12 toxins that are in your water that they don't report, that they don't have to report on. And so what I found is that literally almost every place now, especially with PFAS chemicals, which are horrifically toxin, and they are parts per trillion, they are in almost every city water supply in the country.
Wow. And so the circumstances are is that people just need to be paying attention. And I know that on the Power Mall, which we featured these products, you have the pour-over filters as well for those that don't want to spend that kind of money on a whole house system, which, I mean, I like the idea of it because then I know you're getting clean water no matter what you do in the house. But as far as the pour-over filters, how do these work compared to the big ones?
The pour-over, what I didn't catch that.
No, we're talking about the pour-over water filters that we have, because I noticed that in your shop on your website that you have some on the counter kind of pour-over filters.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay, sure. We have the sink filter, which is a beautiful stainless steel fixture. It goes on the sink. It has a big high flow spout that comes up, and it swings around 360 degrees, so you can have filtered water on your countertop or over the sink, and that retails for like $229, and you can buy extra filter elements, of course. And then one of the biggest sellers actually is the replacement filter elements for gravity filters, and this is something that historically people go to my website for those replacement filters. If you have any make or model of gravity filters that you purchased in the last 20 or 25 years, they all have the same hole size. And the new GMCC HI filter elements will fit any of those stainless steel, or some are even plastic. And so the replacement filter elements for gravity filters, one of our big selling products.
No doubt. Well, and I'm looking here at the front of the Power Mall, and boy, they have done a number. Have you seen it? They have your whole house and your stainless tap water purifier sitting on the front page right now with the discount code POWER, 10% off of any of these products here that we're featuring on the Power Mall. And of course, these are NSF ANSI 61 certified, folks. So we're serious about the idea of your health. And I understand that with everything you do regarding your health, it comes with a price. If you were going to go out and buy bottled water, and I'm not totally sold on bottled water, we are looking for a finite way to permanently stop buying bottled water. The problem is that people with wells have to have some way to pump that water out. And I'm always concerned about the electric grid and the ability to do this, which is one of the reasons why, some of us have pour-over water filters, and so right now they're basically taking tap water and pouring it through one of these pour-over units. And the thing is that this basically the stainless 304, I believe it is, does not use electricity, and so this would be a great way if you can figure out a way to get water out of the well pump. That by it otherwise, and drill a well 75 feet down, stick one of these old handles. You remember those pump handle well pumps?
Oh, absolutely. I've used them a lot. I've used a lot of those, you bet.
Yeah, and so that's one of the things. I mean, we're taking you back a ways because I remember those from when I was growing up in the 50s and 60s as a kid. They used to have those at the campground, so we used to go pump them. We thought the water was clean back then. Boy, if we only knew. But the bottled water scenario here, this is one way, I guess, to alleviate getting hooked on bottled water and study the resources here. And study what the difference is between the whole house, what it does as far as your laundry. Certain chemicals that are coming through the system right now will affect your clothes, the way they're washed. Not having some sort of a protective system causes the pipes in your house to deteriorate Am I saying anything wrong here, James? Am I right on?
No, you're right on. Yeah, absolutely. People don't realize that when they dry their clothes and all that lint is there, that's because of the chlorine in the water. It's breaking your clothes down. They're coming apart before your very eyes. And so getting that chlorine out before the laundry is important.
So if you have a chlorinated system, or even though like what you were saying before, James, you call the water company up and you say, hey, what can you tell me about your water? Do you have test results or something? They send you this stuff, and it seems like there are some jurisdictions that the water, the rate of toxins in the water supply far exceeds what the EPA says they can exceed, and this certainly is a solution to that, right?
Absolutely. There's so many aspects to this, but the point that I want to make, if there's people who are a little bit on the doubting side or whatever, is that the term is accumulate. Your body is accumulating a little bit by a little bit every day. And I use the example, if you had a backpack and I said, I'm going to put an ounce of weight in that backpack every day. Once a day, I'm going to drop an ounce in there. No, that's okay, I can handle that. Okay, so after 60s, you have a pound. After a month, you got 2 pounds. After a year, you've got 24 pounds. After 5 years, you're talking 100 pounds. And so you're starting to accumulate. By the time you have 10 or 20 years, you've got 500 pounds of weight in that pack, and you're carrying it. And that's what happens in your cells. It's a little, adds to be a lot. And then 20 years later, you start getting sick, you don't feel good. It's that accumulated toxin in your system is toxic overload. And I deal with doctors all the time who are dealing with patients, and what they realize when they measure their lead or their other toxins, could be any toxin that's locally in the water, they're realizing that these build up over time, and now even little kids are showing up with this.
No doubt. All right, so folks, if you're listening to the sound of my voice right now, if you go to thepowerhour.com, or you may already be on the site because you're listening to us live, you can click on the Power Mall, and you'll see the big ads right there on the front page with the code POWER, and that will get you 10% off your order on James McCanney's water filters. You got to love that, and this is for our Power Hour listeners. James, we appreciate your time and explanation, at least on the scientific aspect, and enlightening people as to how these things work, what they do, why they're useful, why we need them, which is most important. And you can even get one of these sink filtration units just by going to the Power Mall and getting a 10% discount just by using the promotion code POWER on the promotion code at checkout. All right? Sounds good. James McCanney, thanks so much for joining us here on the Power Mall, and we're going to have your Power Hour. We're going to have you back on again very soon. And once again, we have the 10% off all of those products you see advertised here, in addition to the Good Help Naturally products that we also sell. And, of course, now, for those of you who were listening to our broadcast yesterday, we discussed a ton of stuff with Robert Redfern, and he was talking all about the various products that he has, and this the 10% off the Power Mall of all of the products we talked about there, OxyLift, Paratrex, all of that good stuff. The 14 items that we talked about yesterday are on the Power Mall, and they're 10% off. You got to love that. It's a flash sale, and we're doing it just because we love you, and we appreciate your listening to the show. And so, we're rewarding you for being loyal and faithful listeners by coming to the Power Mall. And you can do that right off the website. It's very easy to do. If you go to thepowerhour.com, you'll see the link. Just click on that and get started. And we appreciate your patronage. That's what keeps us going and keeps that news coming. So we have not too much in the way of news that, we haven't covered. There are some minor news notes, which I think probably are of mention. Florida's social media bill. Do you remember Governor DeSantis said, hey, you know what we need to do? We don't like the fact that our editorial freedom is being stripped by these large social media platforms. The law requires them to display any and all posts registered by political candidates and journalistic enterprises, even if such posts violate the platform's rules of conduct.
The law also allows platforms to be sued under a claim they have not treated posts consistently, exposing them to liability of up to $100,000 a post. Well, Net Choice, a trade association of online businesses, what do? File the First Amendment suit in federal court against Florida, arguing the law infringes on private platforms' right to exercise editorial discretion over the content they host. You see, here's the problem, folks. When they do stuff like that, you have an issue over free speech, because if you put something on there and you post something on your Facebook page or whatever the case may be that you believe is factual and it's not misinformation and it's backed up by science, well, then I have a problem with that. And I think they're going to have a little bit of a fight in court, whether they win or not. So we'll be back to take your phone calls after the bottom of the hour break. Dave Krieger with you on the Power Hour. Stay with us.
We've all heard about antibiotics, but what about probiotics? Antibiotic means against life. Probiotic means pro-life. Antibiotics kill bacteria that are infectious and harmful to the body. They also kill the good bacteria, though, that are necessary for good health. Probiotics from living streams replaces the healthy balance of friendly bacteria and normalizes the digestive tract. Gastritis, ulcers, diarrheal diseases, just a few of the problems people develop when the intestinal flora is out of balance. Living Stream's probiotics create the healthy balance needed for good digestion, suppresses growth of pathogenic bacteria, and actually increases resistance to infection. Call the Power Hour, 877-817-9829. Order your Living Stream probiotics today. They're available in 2, 4, and 8-ounce bottles, and Living Stream's probiotics comes with a money-back guarantee. Get your body back in balance with Living Stream's probiotics today. 877-817-9829. That's 877-817-9829. Living Stream's probiotics. Everyone should be pro-life.
Boost your immune system naturally this year with olive oregano, a potent germ killer. This is the true wild oregano oil P73, a blend of edible spices of wild oregano grown on natural mineral-rich soils. Research published in the International Journal of Food Microbiology found that olive oregano is an excellent germicide capable of killing a wide range of fungi and bacteria. Get it today by visiting thepowermall.com or calling 877-817-9829.
The Power Hour has been in existence since the turn of the 21st century. It is more critical than ever for you to sign up for our free newsletter and our breaking news. Simply text the word Power Hour to 22828 on your mobile phone. Or sign up when you visit thepowerhour.com. Our website again is thepowerhour.com. Or text Power Hour to 22828. Our legacy will live on for centuries.
Hi, this is Jay at the Power Mall. When talking of great immune
都成功晋级进入到了4分之一决赛。混合2000米接力4分之一决赛，由范可新、朱森宇、孙龙、于松南组成的中国队拿到小组第1，晋级半决赛。WCBA 常规。
Taste, and then putting formulas together, knowing the herbal ingredients they needed, but putting them together in perfect proportion by taste, just like a chef would. The Strauss heartthrobs, the world-famous Strauss heartthrobs that saved my life, Jim Strauss's and many others, my dad, my list goes on and on. But those heartthrobs, they were developed, created 40 years ago for Jim himself after a heart attack. Now, this formula fixed my high blood pressure over 20 years ago, and I have had great blood pressure since.
Call Jay at 877-817-9829 right now. That number again is 1-877-817-9829. Support small businesses and buy from the good guys at thepowermall.com. That's theparamount.com.
And once again, we're back with our final segment here on Wednesday, November 17, 2021. Hump Day for many of you. 12:33 p.m. That means you're listening to me live. Dave Krieger with you on the microphone. And, of course, the number 844-769-2944. You guys have been pretty quiet today, I'll tell you. We've had some interesting guests on and some interesting topic information here. We don't, like I say, give legal advice, nor do we give financial advice on the show. Moral advice, yeah, we have a lot of that. As if most people, it's just like I was making the argument earlier about practicing law. You know, because all these states, these bar associations have practicing law without a license. Well, wait a minute, isn't teaching your kid right from wrong practicing law? Last time I checked, I thought it was. You're teaching him right from wrong, so he's not going to go out and commit crimes. More parents, I think parents from back in the 50s and 60s, figured that out a long time ago, right? RFK Jr., in other news that we've been unearthing here, he is claiming that the shot, we have to stop using that word vaccine because it's really not. It's emergency use authorization jabs. It has junk in it we don't even know. And RFK Jr., of course, did a session with Tucker Carlson on his Tucker Carlson Today program. And basically, he has drawn sharp rebuke, of course, from the narrative pontificating left that their vaccines are deadlier than all vaccines combined over the past 30 years. This is what RFK is saying. They're saying, oh, no, you can't say stuff like that. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., well, I mean, his whole family has been traditionally Democrat, and he basically is an attorney, and he's coming out on behalf of the Children's Health Defense Network. I mean, come on. In a segment of Fox Nation, this program has just recently aired. He cited data from the CDC's VAERS system saying that there have been 17,000 deaths reported to VAERS from the COVID vaccine. And so when you start looking at the data, he says, and that's more in the last 8 months than all vaccines, the billions and billions of them, combined over the last 30 years. 17,000 deaths. The shot appears to be killing more people than all of the vaccines previously given combined. Health and Human Services, of course, points out that VAERS reported a documentation that a link has been established between a vaccine and an adverse event. You see how they try to deflect? They don't want you to know the truth. We're saying that those numbers are probably more like 200,000, not 17. But, you know, if you haven't been looking at the Medicare data, then you don't get those bigger numbers. But the thing is, and my point I alluded to earlier was the 53 people
that died of the flu shot caused the CDC and the FDA to pull the existing flu shot. And here we have this drug that's been pushed on everybody with emergency use
authorization from 3 different drug companies that are making billions. Their shareholders, I mean, you know, people, and I'm not giving financial advice again, but can you imagine how much money people are making by investing in these drug companies right now? Moving all their stock over there because they say, oh, you're going to need boosters. Now all of a sudden their stock takes a hike and you just made a bunch of money. I mean, that's not insider trading because they're coming out literally and they're telling you this is what's going to happen and our stock's going to go up. Well, what do you think most shareholders would do, or people that are investing in the stock market? Of course they're going to plunk their money into something where they know the stock's going to go up. It would be stupid not to. But the problem is the narrative. The problem is what is their real intention here? If these vaccines are legal or lethal, what they're calling lethal, you know, we call them the jab here. But if they're lethal, why would you be getting one? Do you want to play Russian roulette with your life? I love this. The narratives just keep changing, further confusing everyone. This is not a good thing either. If you have something to say about the narrative, 844-769-2944 is their telephone number. You can chime right in right now. Lines are open. The Mexico president has issued a veiled threat to Republican congressmen who oppose an immigration deal to grant citizenship to 11 million migrants who illegally entered the U.S. 11 million migrants. And so the Republicans don't want a deal to grant citizenship because these people then would be deported. Where are they going to be deported from? Likely where they came from. Mexico doesn't want to have to deal with that, which obviously generated this statement. Politicians who oppose the forthcoming plan are going to be singled out and denounced during daily press briefings. All right, so let the smear campaigns begin. You see, this is what happens when you open the borders and just let every Tom, Dick, and Harry, or Jose, come through. And they're coming through from more than just the countries in South America or Central America. They're coming from more than that. They're coming from overseas. It's amazing how when you give them an inch, they take a mile, right? The old saying. Well, this is what Republican congressmen have started to generate blowback from the left and now from other countries. Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri, he's a Republican, touted his legislation that would protect parental rights and parents' abilities to attend school board meetings as radical subjects like critical race theory are being introduced into the curriculum. They have been, most parents during the lockdown had a chance to glance at their child's laptop and saw a lot of this garbage, which some of them just said nuts to this. Missouri is one of those schools like Texas that advocates homeschool. Oh, did I get some of the class participants to perk up there? I'm still waiting for homeschoolers to call the program, 844-769-2944, and tell us what good things you're learning, because obviously if you're being homeschooled, you're not learning critical race theory. You are learning things that are a little bit more godly, and you're not learning about transgenderism and why it's so important to go out and have a sex change so later you can become depressed and kill yourself, like so many of these victims of SRS have found themselves in that dilemma, and they've taken themselves out because they've realized, oh my God, I made a big mistake. I can't live with myself. I'm unhappy with the way I am. I'm depressed, and therefore I think I'll just end it all. You'd be surprised when you do your research at the numbers of people that are being influenced to do these things and then come to realize, oops, I think I made a big mistake and it can't be reversed well. Maybe. Good luck with that. Those of you home builders out there, or folks that are looking at getting a new home built, well, guess what? New home construction has slowed down, and it's falling short of expectations amid shortages and Biden inflation. A new term, Biden inflation. According to Breitbart, home builders started construction on fewer new homes in October, defying expectations that rising real estate prices would amp up construction. Wrong. Don't know what the economists were thinking. Housing starts fell to a seasonally adjusted annualized rate of 1.52 million last month. That would seem like a lot of houses, but you have to understand with the supply shortage and the way things are with getting lumber, and supposedly lumber prices are coming down a little bit, but I don't think that you're going to see these general contractors and real estate subdivision developers backing off of the current prices because, hey, this is the time to rake in profits when people are desperate, right? Sometimes I know one guy was told, wait, don't buy yet. Okay, buy now. And save $60,000 on the price of his house. People apparently, they become so desperate, you don't want to go out, and this is something that I have found to be true, based on my research of real estate, that it is cheaper to build a new house than it is to buy an existing home right now. Why? Because the existing home is actually ready to move into. Or you only have to wait a few days for the family to move out because they're moving out. They're moving into, or downsizing, one of the two. They're moving into a new place of residence, and so therefore their house becomes your house. And so I don't have to wait for construction. I don't have to wait a year to move into my house. I don't have to live in a rental and throw money away on rent. It's what the investors like BlackRock and people like that are funding and putting all their money into China these days. That's what they would like for you to do, is move into one of their rentals. So you have a comment about that. 844-769-2944 is the number to call. Gateway Pundit is reporting that there is a political witch hunt